But as I'm looking at him, I'm just wondering, and then suddenly a door pops up in front of me. And not just me, every one of us who was there, a door showed up in front of us. I'm thinking, man, this dream is taking a crazy turn. So when I look at my door, I can see all my sins written there. Every single one of them. But when I look at my neighbor's door, I can't see anything. And when they look at mine, they can't see anything. So only you can see your own sins which are written on that door. Then at the bottom of the door, it's written, so the question is God real? And if he's real, who is he? And what's his name? And how can we truly find out for ourselves? So those are the questions I want us to talk about today. It's just a discussion. This is not a lecture. So the first question is God real? Now for me, I believe that no amount of quoting from the Bible will convince anybody. No amount of quoting from any other book, no amount of exorcism and other people giving testimonies is ever going to convince everybody. At least it's not going to convince me that there is a God. That is not enough. For all I know, those are paid actors. You find 2 or 3 women rolling around on stage claiming they have been exorcised. Or someone comes along on stage to give a testimony. How do I know this person giving a testimony was not with the pastor in the office just an hour ago and they've been given 50,000 and a script to say in front of the whole crowd? You can never really know the truth. So my belief when it comes to God is that the only way to prove that God exists is through personal experiences. Not stories and hearsay and things which you cannot prove, things which cannot even be scientifically proven. But when it's your own experience, you can be able to say, yeah. You know, especially if someone is an unbeliever, the equivalent of quoting the Bible to an unbeliever or the Quran or any other book that is out there, perhaps I'm not aware of it, is the same as quoting the Kenyan Constitution to an American citizen. Reading them articles in the Kenyan Constitution about the KRA and the IEBC, they mean nothing to them unless they acquire Kenyan citizenship. So it's the same thing with religion. You need to have your own experience. And I am coming to a point, sorry if I sound repetitive. So how do we know God exists? Through personal experiences. Well, what has my experience been since time immemorial? Well, here's a story I'll tell you about my personal experience. So since I finished high school, all along I've been someone who dreams a lot. I can have 4 or 5 dreams in one night. So I decided, you know what, let me just journal these dreams. So I used to write them down, not on a piece of paper, but on a tablet. First thing I wake up, I write them down. They make sense or not, I just write them down. I go on with my day. So I have a backlog of so many years of dreams that I've written down. Now in those many dreams that I've written down over the years, there's something weird, strange that I saw in those dreams. There are some which actually came to pass. Now you'll say, wait a minute. Okay, we do know based on science that the most complex thing in existence is the human brain. But my brain cannot possibly be predicting the future. I mean, how? Because I had dreams which came to pass. And I'll give you one such dream. If you've been to my Instagram page, it's pinned at the top. There's a speech I was giving somewhere at ECM. It's owned by Mayu. And I did talk about it there. If you haven't seen it, I'll give you the story now. So there's a very interesting dream I had. And in this dream, I was standing on Mars, the 4th planet from the sun. And we all know how Mars is. There's no lakes, no rivers. There's no water at all. There's no oxygen to begin with. So it's a desolate planet. It's like Sahara Desert all across. And then in that dream, something strange happened. I started floating out of that planet. I left the planet, cruised all the way to Earth, and I entered Earth. So I wrote that dream. At the time of writing it, it didn't make sense. But during the day, personally, I like a lot to do with astronomy. So I was thinking really hard, what could this mean? So here's the interpretation that I had based on my thoughts. Mars is a desolate planet. It has nothing, just dust and endless wind. And Earth is a planet that on the other side is blessed. There's water, there's rivers, oceans, there's greenery, there's oxygen, there's everything you need to have a habitable situation. So my assessment of the dream was that what God is telling me, or whatever deity exists out there, is that I am going to be moved from this desolate planet called Mars and be taken to Earth, which represents prosperity. And at the time I was having that dream, in all honesty, I had nothing. No job, nothing. I was depending on my mother actually. She was sending me some upkeep. So something interesting is that in regards to timing, because I thought a step further, I discovered that anytime NASA or the Russians are sending any rovers or probes to the planet Mars, they do it when the two planets align, because at times they could be on either side of the sun. That is going to be a very expensive voyage, and it's going to use a lot of fuel. But once every 2 years, the two planets align. They come this close to each other. And when you launch from Mars to Earth or Earth to Mars, it takes 7 months. So I just wrote down the meaning under that dream. I wrote what I think it means and the duration I think it'll take. And then I got my first job ever, where I worked in an optical shop. Now, after getting that job, I remembered at one point I had a dream that I'd get something going on. So I went back to my dreams. I went all the way down, 7 months worth of dreams, just scrolling until I found it. I did the math, that was exactly 7 months later to the dot. So I was like, wow. And you know, some people might say, that dream is not legit, because if you're coming from Mars to Earth, that means prosperity. But where is the prosperity in working in an optical shop? Let me tell you, if you're coming from having nothing, even just going to town, someone has to facilitate you. You have to make 2-3 phone calls. Uko na pesa flani, unisaidie. So if you're coming from that is huge. That is very, very huge. And it took 7 months. So that's the first time I was like, you know what? This is crazy. Some of these dreams I'm having, actually not just dreams, they're prophecies. So that to me is proof that there is a living God. Or not necessarily God, but there is a deity that exists out there. And then I had another dream. Now this one was more of an instruction. In this dream, I was standing, and in dreams, crazy things happen in dreams. Things that would not happen in real life. So in this dream, I was standing in 2 different institutions. I was both in my high school and in my university at the same time, which was very strange. And when I woke up, I'm like, now, what on earth could such a dream even mean? How is it even helping me in any way? It looks like a garbage dream, in all honesty. But the thing is, when I finished high school, I never picked my papers. I had some teachers, not many, just a few wakusumbua watu. I think we all had such teachers. Even just clearing you, anataka kusumbue, akwambia I have a triple maths lesson, ngoja hapo. So I had tried once or twice, I gave up. Nikasema, those papers, they can keep them. I'll just look for self-employment, they can keep those papers. I finished university. I never even went for my degree. I also said that one is fine. I'll collect it the day I'll need it. So I had given up on those things. I was just doing my own things here and there. So when I got that dream, it was a Saturday. So I pondered upon it. I said, maybe this means I should go collect my papers from both institutions. Now, it being a Saturday, of course, you're not going to find lecturers or teachers on a Saturday or even Sunday. So Monday was the next viable day. I said, sawa, let me head over to the first institution, high school, Sunshine Secondary. If at all the dream was wrong, there's nothing wrong. At least I'm working towards getting my papers. So I get there. I find the guards at the gate. They tell me, yes, how may we help you? I told them I was here many years back and I'm here to collect my academic certificates. They said, okay. And then the guards told me there's a new law from the Ministry of Education that during KCSE, I didn't even know KCSE was going on. During KCSE, no one can be allowed into the school. No one. Even parents, if you're bringing your son a new set, a new kamusi, whatever it is they need, you leave it at the gate, you sign it off, it will be delivered. But I told them, hey, you know what? I've been called for this nice job. I'm even just lying, I'm improvising. I've been called for a nice job with Safaricom. And it's a guaranteed job. The interview is next week. All I need is my papers. The guy told me there's nothing I can do, but let me call Madam, I see what she can say. The Madam she was talking about is the secretary to the principal. So she calls her on the extension. The Madam yells at the soldier. The soldier says, ako hapo ongea naye. She basically deflected that whole thing to me. So I'm talking with the lady over the extension phone. And she's telling me, yes, kijana, how may I assist you? And I told her I was here many years back. I'm here to collect my papers. They are urgently needed. Then she tells me, how long ago were you here? I told her the year. Then she's telling me, all those years, you must be a joker. Kijana, you must be a joker. So I tried explaining myself. She hung up on me in the middle of the conversation. So at that point I knew, this dream was just a fake dream. Now what is that? If it was real, iningepita. But then that guard, something just touched that guard. It was a lady and I can't remember her. Maybe if she's watching this, she can comment. So in the middle of now me I'm just there, I'm saying sasa nitafanya aje, hiyo kazi itaenda tu hivyo. Agad akasema ama naona pale director of academics, acha nimkimbizie hizi karatasi zako because there was a form I needed to be cleared with, and then tusikie vile atasema. Those who don't understand English, then we hear what the DOA will say. So she rushed those papers to him. Now the thing I didn't know was that at the time I was in that high school, my chemistry teacher, who might also be watching, is called Ambrose Azeeki. That man never gets old. I think I look older than him. So he got that document, he looked at it, he saw my second name. It's not Wafula, it's a name most of you don't know. But he said, tell that boy to leave everything he has on the gate to just walk in with his papers that he needs for clearance. So she came back, gave me that information, I walked in. So I went to that same lady who had refused to allow me even in the school. Alinikatia simu in the middle of a conversation. So then she looks up at me. Yes, how may I assist you? I told her I'm here to collect my papers. Then she tells me, Kijana, I told you not to enter this school. What are you doing? She was just so rude. But she's answering with rudeness. Me, I'm just humble. Who told you to get in? The director of academics. Yada yada. She tells me, go sit at the reception. This lady, I don't even understand where such people come from. And that is how opportunities pass people. You can treat some people badly. Okay, that was me. It's not like I had an opportunity to give her. But what if this was someone big, a CAS just going there after 40 years, 30 years to get their papers? She was just in a bad mood. So long as she hears you were once a student, you are just a sumbua. That is, I don't know what was going on with her. But me, I sat down there and eventually she calls me up. Now the thing I didn't know is that this lady, she was the one who was filling everything on behalf of the principal. So she had measured me. Akaona, I'm being rude to this guy, he's not being rude back. So she wrote very nice comments on my leaving certificate and all the other things I needed. Boom, I was out of there with my paper in less than, I'd say 20 minutes. Now, if you know where Sunshine is and Daystar Valley Road, it's 20-30 shilling a fare if you're using a matatu. So, next location, Daystar. Now, Daystar was going to be tricky. There's so many departments, so many offices, and you need all these signatures just to get your degree eventually. So I start off at the library. I go to the reception. Yes, how may we help you? I was here a few years back. I'm here for clearance so that I can get my degree. I need sit down with the librarian. As I'm asking where the librarian is, the guy next to me says, yes, I am the librarian. What do you need from me? Okay, let's go to my office. I get that signed. I go to the main reception. I need pastor. I don't know it was pastor who, because Daystar is a Christian university. Even pastors have to sign off on you. So I'm asking, where is pastor so and so? The guy at the reception tells me, ndo ule pale anapita sahi. I'm telling you, in 1 hour, I had cleared in Sunshine, cleared in Daystar. I was back in my office with all my papers. Simply because of a dream. So I was like, wow, man, there's definitely something out there. We can argue what is out there, but we cannot fail to acknowledge that there is something out there. But let me also give you something else that's shocking. If you start journaling your dreams, you'll not just discover that there is a God out there or a superior deity, but you will also discover that there is evil out there. They both exist. How do I know this? Here's another story, and I feel like today I have so much time. I don't know if I'm doing the wrong thing sharing this here, because this is not a platform for it. I don't think I'll even be doing this more often than not. This is just one of those days. I think I just want to put this out. I'll make my kids watch this years later, so it's mostly beneficial to me. So there's this one time when I was at Daystar Valley Road in my final year. So I used to have a small apartment close to the school. My mom was paying that rent. And I've always been fascinated about business. So I was wondering, where can I get some money and just start something? I've never liked the concept of borrowing money from people. Especially as a man, it can be demeaning to some sense. So I convinced my mom. I told her, you know what? Allow me to move back into your house, and then that rent you are paying for me, give me that rent. Let me save that rent. And that is how I actually saved and started my first company, which was totally killed by COVID. I actually wrote a book about it during the time of COVID, but I'm not selling it. I have like 3 copies left. The day I'll set up my website, I'll have a landing page where you can download it for free, the free ebook. I don't intend to sell it. Knowledge should not be sold. It should be free, in my opinion. So when I moved in with my parent at the time, My mom is ni mtu very church going all the time. All the time you pass, there's me, like if I'm ever watching TV, if it's not CNN, it's MSNBC, Fox News, Al Jazeera, BBC or something like that. But since I started getting involved kidogo with the local politics, I'll watch Kenya News Digital online, maybe NTV, that's as far as I go. So it was news. That's all I was gobbling up. But for her, it's always preaching. On a Friday, she's hosting keshas at home. I was even thinking, these are the crazy fellows in this country. When others are building the country, you are just there praying hours on end. So actually, at the time, they would do their prayers, me, I would go meet with friends. But environment matters, right? So, and also, we are social beings. Your environment could very well influence you. So, at the time, I decided, what do I have to lose? Let me also give this thing a shot. So, all I did was I'd wake up in the morning, say a prayer, and me don't do long prayers. Even I don't do long analysis. I don't like talking for hours on end. This could be the first time I'm doing it because it's something I experienced. So I'd wake up, pray for a minute, and go to school. Come back before I sleep. I pray for another minute or so, and I sleep. I was still journaling my dreams, but now the dreams got weird when that started because now suddenly I'd experienced what some of you might have experienced at one point in your life called sleep paralysis, which is where you're pinned down, you can't move, and you can see something that's scary in the room trying to haunt you or whatever. So I discovered, so there's pushback. If you even try to move closer to God, there's pushback from some things out there. It was bad. It would happen night after night, the attacks. And I'd even tell my mom at the time, she'd say, hammer your room, go sleep in the guest room. Hammer your room, go sleep. I was like, no, you'll move till when? It's open season on you if you don't have a relationship with God. So that is something I came to learn at that age, that not only does God exist, I have my evidence towards that. And like I said, evidence is always personal. Don't let anybody teach you anything that you cannot experience yourself. That is like explaining to someone the taste of candy. They'd never understand what you're going on and on about. They need to give them their own candy, let them taste it. So what I learned at that time, God exists, and so does something else evil out there. So far, what have I learned from my dreams? I've learned that there is a God out there. Who that God is, I don't know. At the time, I didn't know. I also learned that there is some malevolent spirits out there that can also interact with us. Because you sleep a third of your life. If you sleep 8 hours a day, by the time you die, you've slept a third of your life. And that third of your life, you have a spirit. So you are communicating with the spirit realm. And dreams is what you see. Most people think it's just random things. Those dreams can be prophecies, instructions, torment. Anything could be happening through those dreams. So anyway, so far I've expounded on God exists. There's something also evil out there that exists. But who is God? So I had another dream that answered that question for me. Now, in this dream, I was in a high school setting. It's not like I was in high school at the time. At that point, I was an adult. But the dream had placed me in high school. And we were all in class. Then some crazy kid comes shouting. And he comes saying, God is in the field. God is in the field. We were like, get out of here. What did you smoke on your way here? But either way, we all went to confirm and see what this kid is saying he saw. So we get to the field, and I'm seeing some guy. He's not exactly white, but he isn't black either. And he's in one of those medieval, I don't know how to explain it. I'll just find an image that looks close to it and place on the screen. So that's what I saw. And as I'm looking at him, I just instantly knew this is Jesus I'm looking at. And as I'm looking at him, there's nothing glorious about him in that dream for you to say this is a God, no. He was just like us. Okay, different skin tone, taller than us. I can't remember the color of the eyes or any of that unless I go look for the dream again. But as I'm looking at him, I'm just wondering, and then suddenly a door pops up in front of me. And not just me, every one of us who was there, a door showed up in front of us. I'm thinking, man, this dream is taking a crazy turn. So when I look at my door, I can see all my sins written there. Every single one of them. Drinking, partying, because you know how campus is. All those things, they're all written there. But when I look at my neighbor's door, I can't see anything. And when they look at mine, they can't see anything. So only you can see your own sins which are written on that door. Then at the bottom of the door it's written, paid for by the blood of Christ. That was a very strange dream. But according to me, that dream confirmed to me that Jesus is the true living God. So for me, based on dreams, I got to know that, hey, God exists, something else also exists out there, and God is Jesus Christ. But that is just my experience, those are just my thoughts. And like I always say, even when I'm doing an analysis, I am just one man and that is just my opinion. It doesn't mean I'm correct. But I will always lend an ear to somebody who will tell me about their experiences, not about what is in this book, what is in that book. This chapter says personal experiences is all that matters. It's like, let's assume the government is disbursing funds to teachers and a certain school has not been paid at all. But the government tells that school, you will be paid eventually, but we are paying some of these other schools. How will we know you are paying those other schools? We are not those schools. We will know you are dishing out money when we get our payment. So for me, the first contact always has to be personal experience. And another skewed belief that I have is that just by journaling down your dreams, you will be shocked at what goes on for the period of a third of your life. You're going to be shocked what goes on during that third of your life. There's things you'll dream that will come to pass and you'll be left shocked. But either way, that's just my opinion. I'm really hoping to read some of your comments. Do drop me your own comments in the comment section below. I'll do my best to read them and to give you a response. Adios.